administrators can enroll devices into management, but this is best performed by the end user. For example, by using Windows Autopilot or by manually joining corporate devices to Microsoft Intune. However, when bulk enrolling devices, there is a special permission that can be granted to a member of your IT team. This can help during large-scale deployments of devices. This special permission is known as a Device Enrollment Manager, or the DEM. If allowed, all end users can enroll a limited number of devices themselves. However, a user who is granted the Device Enrollment Manager permission is also able to enroll up to 1,000 devices. These devices will not be assigned to individual users during the enrollment process, but will act as kiosk devices or shared use devices. Let's run through a real-world scenario where your organization might require to use a Device Enrollment Manager. You have 300 handheld devices that will be deployed to waiting staff in 30 restaurants across the country. You promote one of your IT technicians to have the Device Enrollment Manager permission. They will be in charge of the deployment and will enroll each device into management with Intune. The IT technician can then configure access to company data using the device. The tablets are then ready for shipping to the restaurants. The waiting staff do not own the devices, but they can log in to a specific app and take orders. This then transmits the data to both the kitchen staff and the head office. The device is fully managed by Intune and requires no technical management by the restaurant staff. Intune is fully responsible for updating the apps and the security of the device. There are not many things that can go wrong with the DEM permission, but there are some limitations that you need to know. The first thing which you need to be aware of is that this permission cannot be an Intune administrator, and you're only allowed to grant the DEM permission to 25 users per tenant. You won't allocate users during the bulk enrollment process. However, when using the DEM, you need to remember that each device will require an Intune or EMS license. Otherwise, the deployment will fail. Also, device enrollment managers can only enroll devices. They're not allowed to unenroll devices. In fact, only an administrator can unenroll a device. Microsoft have created an app called the Company Portal, which is found in the Microsoft, Apple, and Android app stores. The Company Portal should be downloaded onto mobile devices, and this is used by users to self-enroll their device and access corporate apps. There's also a website version of the Company Portal, which you can offer to your users. This gives them access to apps, data, and resources. But this requires users to sign into the portal, which may not be possible with a userless device. Devices enrolled by a Device Enrollment Manager have a few limitations which make their usage slightly different from other Intune devices. During the deployment, there will be no specific user assigned to the device, so these devices should only be used as kiosk or multi-user devices. However, at a later stage, a user can sign into a device with their credentials, and a user profile will then be created. The Device Enrollment Manager cannot reset devices if there is an issue. You'll need an administrator to perform these tasks. Intune conditional access policies cannot be used for these devices. These policies are used to grant or deny access to a device based on the current device status. And finally, on kiosk or utility devices, there'll be no user-based corporate data access. So therefore, you'll need to create device-specific VPN profiles or use a specialist app to access corporate data. When provisioning, the DEM account needs to use the Company Portal app to be able to manually add apps to the device. The Company Portal app should therefore be deployed by Intune as a required install to the Device Enrollment Manager's user account. Then the DEM can assign any apps to the devices that they're deploying.